Well, we are getting to the meat of it now, and that the question is, people talk about European values, British values, Canadian values, without ever defining it. And I think, Simon is right, that it's not just about car chase movies and rap songs and all the rest of it. There's something underlying it. I share entirely Louise's fears of the big security state. Because I like to write and I like to say what I want. And my writing wound up in front of 3 human rights commissions in Canada. So I certainly don't want to see the Europeans erect a bigger security state with less free speech than Canada has. I would hate to see that. But the reality of this situation is that if you look at what happened with the Charlie Hebdo slaughter in Paris a year ago, and then look at the polls of the Muslim communities afterwards. They don't want to put a bullet in a cartoonist. They don't want to blow up the Brussels airport. But there is no commitment to traditional Western understanding of free speech. And as Simon says, we don't teach them it. We don't assimilate them. You have to have something to assimilate with. And if you don't, you have bicultural societies, as you dealt with in Bosnia. Bicultural societies are always fundamentally unstable, sometimes more or less benignly so, like Northern Ireland, sometimes genocidally so, as Louise can tell you, in Rwanda. But if you don't assimilate these people coming in Europe, then you will have bicultural societies, and they will tear Europe apart.
Hold on. Mark, I assume it's been a long time since you've lived in Toronto. Is that a fair assumption? Have you seen street signs in languages you can't understand? This is the city we live in. We're not scared.
No, this is a multi. This is. I was born in Toronto. I've been away for a couple of years. You're from Quebec. You're from Quebec. So you know as well as I do that the differences between Quebec Francophones and Ontario Anglophones are footling in the scheme of things. Yet 20 years ago, a majority of your fellow Quebec Francophones voted that they didn't want to be in the same country as these guys. And you're saying that somehow...
Talk to him about that.
You're saying that somehow in Germany or in Sweden or in Molenbeek, the Islamic Emirate inside of the Kingdom of Belgium, 25% of the population of Brussels is Muslim. You're trying to tell us that they will be more fundamentally stable and secure than Northern Ireland.
Well, I think the divisions in Belgium, they don't have to wait for anybody coming out of that country to have separatist tendencies. They have very I lived in Belgium, in Brussels, for 5 years until recently. No. So they don't need anybody to come from any stan to have identity
I know. My mum's
difficulties.
Flemish. I know about that.
Exactly.